This is the exact step-by-step standard operating procedure that I use to immediately get to work on any new creator lead that I get. It's the exact operating procedure that I used for my 15 million follower creator recently. It's the same one that I used for my 6.7 million follower creator. Over in the top right, you'll see an icon that says duplicate. And when you click duplicate, it will of course duplicate this into your workspace, and you can just add this wherever. So over here on the left, and I'll highlight this, standard operating procedure, I've made it very clear, start here, right? Because you can actually click that and it will tell you exactly what to do. This standard operating procedure is intended to help growth operators, much like yourself, understand exactly what to do from the moment that you received a new creator lead to the moment that you are assigned and preparing their launch. Now, when we say creator lead here, we're not talking about someone who we just wish would work with us and they haven't responded. A lead is defined here as a content creator who has shown some sort of interest to any degree of potentially partnering with you, the growth operator, right? So this is intended for you. So this whole thing is intended for you to click on as soon as you have someone on the hook, right? So you have a bite, a nibble, if you will. So whether they responded to one of your outreach messages, like you sent them a Loom or a DM or something like that, or they had reached out to you in response to your inbound marketing efforts, right? So like if you have a landing page, or if you do what I do and you post content, this is where this comes into play. So then we're off to the races. It starts right here. Initial evaluation. So before we even touch anything, we start making a school and we get on a call and all this stuff. We first have to evaluate, do our own prior research from just a broad, like bird's eye view. Like, who is this person? Who is this creator? How many followers do they have? What do they post about? What's their engagement looking like? This is the initial evaluation. By the way, if you're not taking notes, feel free to, but again, this is here for your own reference later on, okay? As long as you're a member in our community. So this is what I personally do, and I'm gonna zoom in so you guys can see this. This is how I personally assess if a new creator lead is a good fit for my services, if they're worth my time. You might have different criteria based on if you are a beginner or not, or maybe you're just really, really hungry for that first creator and you kind of want to work your way up. There's nothing wrong with that. But this is just me sharing my personal assessment. I first look at the creator's follower count across their most popular platforms. So if they're popular on TikTok and YouTube, but they have kind of a small following on Instagram, they don't really use Instagram, you practically don't want to even count that. Like if they don't even count that as like, oh, I'm not really active on there, then you shouldn't either, because that's unfair to you as a growth operator to include those extra, 15,000 followers on Instagram. If it has irrelevant content or they're not really active on there, then don't count it, right? Give yourself accurate projections. Besides the point, I then examine their average engagement. Here are my ideal thresholds. So I'm in a position to where it's like, hey, look, if you don't have at least 200,000 followers, you're gonna need to really bring it in some other aspect to make me like dive into it a little bit further. That you guys might be different. Again, I'm currently working with creators with 15 million followers, one with 6.7 million. Maybe you're still looking for that, just anything. I get it. These are my thresholds. So this is relative though. If they do have 200,000 followers, give or take, on Instagram, I'm looking for about 20,000 likes on average on any given post. This is basically engagement rate. I get that question a lot. How engaged does their audience need to be? If they have 200,000 followers on YouTube, I'm looking for about 35,000 views on average. And if they have 200,000 followers on TikTok, I'm looking for about 10,000 likes on average. Reason being, some of you might remember this from other lessons, that different platforms have different quality of followers or assumed quality of followers, right? So peak, like retention, would be YouTube at number one, because if you're subscribed to someone on YouTube, you're giving them like your full attention, or at least more retention than you would scrolling on TikTok, right? Second place goes to Instagram. Third place goes to TikTok, because TikTok is just like, it's so easy to follow somebody and you might not be following them because you're so invested. You just want your For You page to look more like that. By the way, it would be super helpful for you guys to follow along as I'm talking about this. I also do a content quality check, right? What kind of content does this creator need to be posting for me to really consider it? Here's what I look for. Value-driven content is my number one indicator. In other words, does the average follower who follows this creator receive some sort of value by following them? Like, in other words, are they getting more or less, most of the time, some sort of valuable information as a result of following them with the average post? So in other words, if you are working with an entertainment creator and they post funny skits or memes, okay, you might be able to work with it, but you're going to have a much easier time if the creator is already sharing valuable content. We're clear on that, right? We can understand that. So I made it easier. This includes tips, tutorials, how-tos, demonstration posts. And sometimes it might not always be like this is how you do it, but as long as the viewer or the follower is receiving some sort of helpful thing that pertains to an overall consistent goal, right? And they're not all over the place. They're not teaching you how to bake a cake one day and then they're teaching you how to raise a child the other one. I can see how those might intertwine, but more often than not, you want to find someone who's posting tips, tutorials, valuable information, all in the same topic, more or less, with an overarching common goal, okay? And then, of course, I look at their offer structure. This is big, right? This is all part of the initial evaluation. Notice we haven't even talked to the creator. We haven't even responded to the creator yet, okay? We're still determining with our own eyes, who is this person? Are they worth my time? I'm serious. Offer structure review. What does this mean? This means that you should be able to look at a creator's social media and immediately see what it is they're offering or what it is how their funnel is set up. Believe it or not, every creator has a funnel. Whether or not they have a product to sell or an affiliate link or they're driving people to their other platforms, remember, for those of you who have at least started the classroom, the videos in our classroom, everybody has a funnel. You have a funnel, literally by being a growth operator, you automatically have a funnel. The question is, what does that funnel look like? And is it optimal or not? Is it optimized? And it's no different with the creator here. I'll give you an example. Let's go to my Forex day trading creator. He's in the day trading niche. When I found him, I was able to immediately find the link in his bio, which led to a link tree, which led to 7 different places, one-on-one coaching through a Calendly link and a free Telegram that had 3,000 members and buy my day trading signals or whatever for $99 a month. So before we even touch it, before we even get involved with this creator, you should be able to, at the very least, be able to assess what do they have going on right now. And if you can't tell what they're selling, like if you find out later on that they're selling something that you didn't catch the first time, that should be a red light going off saying that's a key area of improvement. So if you were just like first impression checking out a lifestyle influencer and you went to her link tree and she has all these links or whatever, and then you see a post later on how she offers, one-on-one coaching, but you didn't catch that the first time, that should be an immediate, take note, because clearly that's an area of improvement. How come I didn't know that you had coaching calls or coaching available when I was looking for it? You see what I'm saying? So offer structure review, I skim through their offer structure for any sign of pre-existing info products. And if they do have a pre-existing info product or a community or a coaching thing or a course, that's not a bad thing. I've said this in one of our lessons in the classroom where, hey, what if they already have a paid info product? That's okay, because newsflash, I'll make this quick, newsflash, most content creators have already tried to monetize their audience. It's not like a new idea it's not a new idea to say, wow, I have all these followers, how can I make money with it? Chances are 90% of the time they've already tried something and they have something set up. That doesn't mean it's the best thing for them. So don't be swayed if they already have a pre-existing offer. We're going to move on to initial contact, but I just want to see some thumbs up or nods if we're good so far on initial evaluation. We haven't even talked to the creator yet. Yes, Braden, thumbs up. Carlene, perfect. Perfect. Brandon says yes. I'm gonna take a quick sip. 1 second. Perfect. Now we've evaluated the creator without even needing to talk to them. So at this point, maybe we've sent an outreach message and they responded, sure, this sounds interesting. Or, hey, all right, sounds interesting. What do you got, right? Or you've done the inbound marketing stuff that I always like to teach, and they've landed on your landing page and you got their email and their phone number and they gave you their socials, or they're hitting you up in the DMs, hey man, how do I get started with you? Great. All right, that's where we are now. We've done the evaluation. Here's where we are now. If you have evaluated them and you've assessed them and you at the very least can say, this could be worth exploring further. Because just disclaimer, not everyone who hits you up or not every bite is going to be worth your time. Do not skip that part. I know some of you who are very, very hungry for your first creator are itching for that, just for anybody to give you the time of day. But I'm telling you, if you take the first bite or if you take the first nibble you get, it might not actually be the best decision for you compared to if you were to have held out just a little bit longer and you had a completely, like a much better scenario. Okay, I don't want to get into that too long because we only have so much time, but here's what happens if you do decide that you want to explore a potential partnership with this creator based on your initial evaluation. This is the exact message, by the way, that I've sent my 15 million follower creator just the other week. And now I've sent him the contract, we're about to sign, it's gonna be awesome. Okay, it's also the same message that I sent my 6.7 million follower creator. Don't overthink this, okay? So the initial greeting message, they said, hey, sounds good. Or you're reaching out to them after they submitted your form or whatever. Hi, creator's name. So if it's John, hey John, it's a pleasure to meet you. I'll be able to share a little bit more about myself on our discovery chat. It's not a sales call, it's just so we can better understand exactly what's going on as of right now with your audience and what specific steps we can take to help, okay? Oh, I should quote this, but basically this is also part of that. I'm excited to learn how we can help you monetize your audience. Let me get rid of this. I'm excited to learn how we can help you monetize your audience at no upfront cost to you so you can focus more on, and this is where you can go ahead and get nice with it. So for example, my other creator is a parenting creator. So he's all about family, right? So at this point I said, so you can focus more on spending time with your family and creating content. You see? We made it a little bit personable. That's why I left that blank there. Does specific day and time work for you? Why do we end on that question? It's because yes, we're having a conversation, but in order to incite a response, and a specific response from the creator, especially in these early phases where we barely even know each other, give them a prompt for their response. A lot of you are like, man, my creator ghosted me. And maybe this isn't the missing key for you, but at least when you get to this point, when you are able to prompt them with, hey, does Friday, October 13th at 4 p.m. work for you, right? It makes it as frictionless as possible to come up with to get to the next step, which is gonna be that discovery chat. And we're gonna talk about that in a second. But we're not talking about like, hey, what time works for you? Give them a specific day and time, just at least as a starting point. And if it doesn't work for them, they will tell you. But it removes that friction of now I got to figure out like what time okay, well, hey, and it's like you come up with the date and time and pitch that to them, yes or no, okay? That's the greeting message. I liked that one, perfect. Contact method. So how do we actually reach out to, in case you didn't know this part, how do we actually send this message? Here's the rule that I have here. If the creator has provided their phone number, right, at some point, maybe they sent it to you prior to the conversation somehow, or if you're like in my scenario, they gave it to you when they filled out your landing page, then I'll text them directly. It's okay. They provided you their phone number, so I'll text them this message up here, okay? If they reached out to you via social media, I will send this message, right, but via DM on that platform, okay? And then at some point you can naturally get their phone number either on the discovery chat or ahead of time. It's really not too serious at what point you get that their phone number. But I found that communicating directly with the creator via text message at some point, as early as possible, is the most efficient way to get things going, okay? All right, now this is something I'm very, very proud of. A lot of you may have seen the video that I posted to the community earlier this week. Okay, and I'm not going to spend as much time on it, but I'm very, very proud of this because this part right here is the 2-call strategy. And me personally, I don't know if there's other growth operators or coaches or whatever that teach this because I sure as hell didn't learn it from anyone else. This is something that I actually just stumbled upon, and this is how I went about it, and I repeated it, and it worked every time I did it. So therefore, I'm coining it two-call strategy specifically for growth operators. Maybe this is not a new concept in the sales world in general, but as far as growth operators, this is what I've come up with because it works for me. I want you guys to really see how this works if you don't already know. I follow what is called a two-call strategy. So yes, it's called two-call strategy, but it's actually a three-part sequence because the first part is the discovery call, the third part is the presentation call, and in the middle, that's actually a very important step. And this is how I'm not even BSing y'all. I have a 100% close rate. How is that even possible? I'm going to tell you how it's possible. Because I do something that a majority of all these growth operators and their coaches are completely they're completely missing it. I get a lot of looms and DMs and stuff from like other niches out there, like copywriters and DM setters and DM closers. Maybe some of y'all do too. Hey, do you need an appointment setter? It's like, no, I don't need an appointment setter. I have enough. I'm good. But here's what they all have in common. They all like come up with some sort of evergreen proof of work, and then they just like slightly change the name, or they use the same presentation, and then whenever they're sending this loom out to 100 people, all they do is just change the name. Hey, Vince, I made this for you. No, you didn't. You made this for everyone, and you just used my name when you sent it to me. You guys aren't slick, okay? Hey, I made you this presentation. I want to show you how you can get 50 more members in your community. No, you didn't. You didn't make this for I. You made this for everyone, and you're just sending this to I, and it took you maybe 30 seconds to make this new loom. Here's where we differ. Okay, and here's why I have a 100% success rate with this. So after all this, the evaluation, the contact, we're now entering this formula. By now it's called formula. Discovery chat. It goes discovery chat, do the work, presentation call. This might be a completely new idea for some of you who try to close on the first call like you've been taught by other people. So, or even worse, try to close in the DMs. Okay? If you guys aren't getting in front of the creator and actually diagnosing them in the way that a doctor would when they go into a doctor's office, then you're losing that sense of personability. Like this person is actually knows what they're doing and they have done their research. I mentioned this in the video, but then we'll skim through this. I promise you. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. When you go to a doctor's office, do you walk into the office, you sit down, you're coughing, you have a headache, whatever. Doctor or nurse comes in. What is the first thing that they do? They ask you what's going on. They don't just automatically say, they don't just take a look at you and then prescribe you Viagra. They ask you, so what's going on with you today? Tell me what's going on. And they listen to what you specifically have going on. Well, doc, I have a headache. I have a runny nose. I don't really know. It started 2 days ago. And my stomach kind of hurts. So they listen to your specific situation, then they come up with a custom solution specifically for what you have going on. And therefore, you're more inclined to believe, yes, this is for me, not just because they're the professional, sure, but they're not just BSing you and just giving you anything. So I make that analogy because that's exactly what we're doing here, and that's what I've done with my 15 million follower creator, my 6.7 million follower creator, and of course my first creator, which was the Forex trader, that we got up to 25,000 in MRR, okay, monthly recurring revenue. It goes like this, discovery chat. This is when we open up, so this is how it goes. Ready? Here we go. Whenever I know I'm about to work with a new creator prospect, I open up a new Operations Hub using the Operations Hub template. That's what all this is. That's what all this is. So as soon as I have a new creator on the hook, before we even start the discovery chat, I get to work ahead of the time. I do my homework on that creator, right? Which is the initial evaluation, like we mentioned, and the initial contact. And it's all here. Like I drink my own Kool-Aid, pretty much. The Operations Hub that I'm telling you guys or I'm recommending you use is actually what I do. And if you don't believe me, I can click on any of my creators here, like Paulina here, and look, this is actually what I use, okay? And I've templatized it for you. So let me go back right here, standard operating procedure. Let's get back on track. Here's how the discovery chat goes. So we've booked a time, and I open up my stuff and I have my notes ready, but my note taking isn't done. My initial evaluation is not done because now, just like the doctor, I can't just look at the patient to know what's going on. I need to hear from them directly. So before you try to come up with a solution for a creator that comes across your way, you actually need to talk to them first so you can hear straight from the source what is going on with that creator, their content, their monetization journey, what they've tried before in the past, any ideas that they've had. And you're not going to get that by looking at their Reels or their Instagram or whatever, or their TikTok. You have to ask them and you have to open that up. So here's how we do it. Here we go. I literally tell you exactly what to say. So the call happens. They get on the call and you see their beautiful face for the first time. And you open with a smile. Hey, Paulina, how's it going? Oh, I'm good. How are you? Okay, greeting. Thank them. Hey, first of all, I just want to thank you for your time. I know you're a busy woman, as am I. I'm not going to take too much of your time. But I have something really, really exciting for you today. But it's, and then you just kind of get into it, right? Ask, talk about the weather. Where they're calling from. Hey, I'm calling from that, whatever. So you make this chit chat, and then here you go with actually setting the frame. And you can copy this word for word if you'd like, but I strongly recommend that you make it your own. But just for y'all's example, this is actually what I say. This is actually what I said on my 15 million on the call that I had the other day with the 15 million follower creator. Well, John, so basically, just a reminder, I'm a growth operator, aka audience monetization specialist, which basically means I help content creators like yourself monetize your audience in a way that, yes, makes a lot of money, but also does it in a way that strengthens the connection with your audience or the connection that they have with you. And I do this by handling all the back-end stuff like sales funnels, landing pages, email marketing, and all the technical stuff that it actually takes to treat your brand like a real business, which of course brings us to the point of this call. In order for me to best figure out what exactly I might be able to do to help your particular situation, I can do all of my own research as best as I can, but nothing beats hearing it straight from the source. I need to figure out what exactly is going on straight from yourself, right? So honestly, that's all this is. Again, it's not a sales call because I have nothing to sell you because I haven't made anything for you. The way this will go is you'll just kind of lay it all out there and then we'll get off this call so I can take the information you gave me to come up with an actual visual mock-up of what a custom solution would look like. Then when it's ready, we'll schedule a second call later on so I can show you what I came up with, and that's when we'll be able to talk about if you love it or hate it. Does that sound good? Do you guys see what we did there? I need to see nods or thumbs up on how, just so I can verify that you guys can see how that might be completely different than what you might have been thinking when it comes to sales calls or closing a creator, okay? Because I don't see this often in our industry of growth operating. We're diagnosing them, coming up with an actual solution for their specific problem and then presenting it to them, and that is what we're closing. Not just this idea or a concept that trying to prove like I'm the professional, trust me, trust me, trust me. There's not, when you're able to present them with hard, like an actual thing that they can see with their own eyes, you don't need trust because clearly I see it. I can see it for myself. Plus, you're gonna have to do the work anyways. So you might as well do it and close them in the process. So they're gonna acknowledge what you said and you say, great. So let's just go ahead and have you tell me a little bit about what you got going on right now regarding your content. Have you tried any ideas in the past? Do you have any big ideas for the future? What are we looking at? And then you stay silent. Because that is an open-ended prompt and they're going to interpret that. They're going to interpret that in the way that they know best. They might take you all the way back to when they first started creating content. My 6.7 million follow creator, she told me that she had started a clothing brand before, didn't turn out so great. She had a partner, but they let her down or whatever. I got this other guy who I closed earlier this week, the 15 million follow creator, saying, yeah, people have been asking me to write a book, but I just don't know. Okay, and hey, look, and this is where we get right here. As soon as they start sharing, as soon as they start talking, and they start giving you information, you need to be typing or writing this down. Where would you write this down? In the Operations Hub. So look, it's all there too. Look, right over here, Overview Notes. Click that, and I've already set up an area where you would have your pre-discovery call notes. These are the notes that you do on your own research, on your own time prior to the call. And then as soon as that creator starts talking, right? Oh, someone wanted him to start a book. Oh, he's thought about a book deal before, right? And you start blah, 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 and they're typing, or they're sharing your story, and you're taking notes the whole time. Okay, he has 3 kids, blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. Okay? The reason why you're doing this isn't just so, oh, you know about it and you can remember things. No, this is an actual practical thing that you're going to use later on. So again, as they begin to start talking, you're taking those notes, scratch notes. Don't worry about getting the correct spelling, whatever. You just get it all out there, okay? You can go back later, okay? At that point, we're having a natural conversation. So if they mention something like, oh, a book deal, whatever, it's like, oh, so why didn't that go through? Ask them questions. You want to get as much information as you can from that creator about what's going on with their content. Okay, because that's going to help you make something that literally solves everything that they could have possibly have thought of already. Okay, so after we've spent however long, 30 minutes talking about their content, who they are, blah, 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 and answering any questions or asking them any questions, here's how I end the call. All right, John, I really appreciate it. I think that's just about everything. So we're all done for now. I'll go ahead and take however long is needed to put together a game plan along with a legitimate visual mock-up of what I think may work for you. And when it's ready, I'll let you know so we can see what day and time you're free to check it out. Is that cool? Easy. There's nothing to argue with there. It's so low pressure. It's no obligation. Tara likes that one. It's no obligation. How are you going to argue with that? And not once did I mention price or percentage or anything like that. Now, I will be honest. At one point, I mentioned a perk. Hey, a lot of creators love working with me because I don't charge anything up front. As a matter of fact, I don't charge anything. We work off a percentage basis. So if anything, it'll be a net positive investment for you. All you got to do is decide whether you want to go with us or with me or not. You know what I mean? To do it. So anyways, so let's see. We have a question here. Oh, Damon. Okay, real quick. Let's go to Damon. Damon, you had a question?
Well, kind of just on the scheduling the call or telling them you're going to contact them whenever you're done. The only suggestion I would have, and this is just from probably about 5 years of experience of doing this, I would set a date, a specific date and time, and just tell them that's a tentative time, and you can always change it later. That way, there's no question of following up to get that date nailed down.
I love that idea, and I'm not gonna. Thank you, first of all, Damon, for sharing that. So if you guys missed what he was saying, the way I have it set up here is I don't have a specific date or time or follow up. I do have a reason for that, but to Damon's credit, it's not right or wrong, right? What's mine isn't right or wrong, or his isn't right or wrong. But basically, he was basically suggesting the idea of how it could be beneficial to set that clear follow up date. Hey, we'll have it ready to you by, I don't know, a certain date. Like if you know that you'll be able to have it done by a certain date, you can mention that. So definitely a good recommendation, Damon. I will say, so why don't I have this in here? Reason why is because it's not a one size fits all. Sometimes I might think that a webinar is necessary or a landing page is necessary, or maybe neither are necessary at this point in time. So there's different preparation times for this next part, the do the work part. So at this point in the call, I don't even know exactly what it is I want to actually do, the actual execution of what it is I want to prepare for them. So I don't know exactly how long it will take me to make that recipe or to cook that recipe, you know what I mean? So that's why it's kind of open-ended. I will say that I haven't found too much trouble getting them on a second call, especially because it's all about them. It's like, hey, here's something that I made that specifically solves the problem that you say that you're struggling with, you know what I mean? So, but definitely a good recommendation. I'm not gonna knock it. So I'll leave it up to you guys how you wanna approach that specifically. Let's keep going though. We're 30 minutes in, but there's more. Do the work. So now we've collected all the information, right? We've collected all the information, and now we just have this mess, this giant mess of notes, right? But after the discovery chat, we move on to the do the work phase, the stage. And watch this, guys. In this very template that I give you guys, I've already linked the next step, the next page. So watch this. So now you have all these notes or whatever, and then you'll use something like either ChatGPT, which most of you probably will. You can use something like Cintra, right? And I've linked Cintra there because I use Cintra as of recently. But then you ask your AI buddy or helper to organize your scratch notes. That way you're not looking at just a big mess, right? Why do we do that? For 2 reasons. Number 1, because we don't want a big mess of our notes. And number 2, you've simultaneously fed your AI helper that you're going to be using from now on with the exact same information that you have. You guys see what we did there? So yeah, I'm giving my mess of notes to ChatGPT or whatever, But I'm doing it not just so I have better notes, I'm feeding it, I'm training it with all the information that I have about my creator and what it is I'm trying to do. Hey, it's like, I am a growth operator, which means I specialize in monetizing, blah, blah, blah. Prompt your AI, and then you'll start off. To start off, I'm going to give you all the notes that I have so far that I've collected from my own research and my creator. And then you just copy and paste all of it and ask it to organize it. And now 2-for-1 special. You have organized notes and your AI is ready to go. Okay, with that, you then move on to this part, core messaging and target avatar. We're not, see, guys have to trust the process. If you want to actually close the million follower creators that I do, there's a process to it. And that's okay. It's okay if there's a process. It's just important to understand what that process is and what quality assurance actually looks like. Okay? And again, this is all inside that operations hub, made it easy for you. You'll literally see this. You're going to dump all the stuff into your AI, and then you'll literally copy this prompt. So every time there's a purple box, you copy it, feed it to your AI, and then whenever you get the response, you just paste it here. So you swap them out. Okay? And you do that until you have figured out simultaneously with your AI helper what the avatar, the core messaging and target avatar look like for this creator. You see what's happening here? The reason why, just a little bit, a principle here is, how are we going to make an offer? We're going to just make a thing without knowing who we're selling to. You cannot skip this part, guys. And I'm going in order. Before you think about designing that school or opening that landing page or coming up with that community, that offer, and figuring out how much to charge, how do you even know what you're selling if you don't know who you're selling to? But that's okay, because Nate has got you covered with this entire thing. By the time you go through this and you listen to what I'm telling you now, you'll know exactly who you're selling to. Not only that, but if you get stuck, your AI knows who you're selling to, so you can always have a second opinion, an intelligent second opinion. Is it a human one? No, so you're losing that human touch. But if you're ever stuck, you at least know what question to ask. But it's okay, okay? So I got you right here. So then your now you know who you're targeting, the target avatar, stuff like that. Go back to the operating procedure and okay, what's next? Then you complete the market research, and again, this is all pretty self-explanatory. But that core messaging and target avatar one, that is super important. Do not skip that. Because, like I said, you cannot come up with something to sell and just sell anything. You have to know what is the thing that you need to make that makes sense for that creator's audience, and that's what that's going to help you for. Complete the market research, and that basically just kind of means finding other communities or other creators that are selling something similar. How much are they charging? How do they sell it? Do they have a funnel? What does their funnel look like? Do they have a landing page? Are they doing a webinar? What do their lead magnets look like? Market research. Offer structure, this is basically just for you to organize, hey, here's the standard offer. It's going to be a community, $15 a month or whatever, $20 a month, $40 a month. What does it come with? Features, benefits. Why? Yeah, we're going to have live coaching calls, but why? Why do they actually help get that member to that goal? Okay? And it's not about just stacking a bunch of stuff randomly and trying to, it's like you stack a bunch of stuff that makes sense. Okay? We're almost done. Here we go. I then after we have that, we mock up the minimum viable product. I open up the branding assets section of the template, which is right here. Okay? And again, I've already templatized it for you. Why does this matter? Why are we talking about hex codes? Why are we talking about colors and color palettes and fonts? Because it matters. It matters, whether you believe it or not. You guys see in this very community, if I asked you, what is the primary color of Operation Monetize? Some of you already know what it is. Why? Because it's everywhere. Purple. Okay? It matters. And the same fonts are used everywhere. Okay? So it's little things that really do go a long way, I promise you that. Okay? So this is what I recommend. A primary color, you come up with some sort of vibrant color. It could be orange, red, green, something. Or you could be like me and you can ask the creator, hey, what's your favorite color? Right? It's a nice little touch. That's what I did with my last guy. Hey, what's your favorite color? Oh, I like purple. It's like, great. I'll run with some sort of shade of purple. Secondary color should be something like this is what I recommend. You take the same shade of the primary color and you make it darker. That's the secondary color. And then the accent color is something completely different, like a lime green or a neon orange, right? And then of course it'll be white and black. There's also a space here for you to add the logos or to save which font you're using. And again, guys, I promise you it matters. You don't want to have Times New Roman on their website, and then over here on like their lead magnet, it's all different fonts. Trust me, it's consistency. Okay, I could tell you all about the case studies and stuff like that. Golly, let me not get ahead of myself. We're almost there, as you can see. So here, I already laid out the notes as far as branding assets, creating a logo, right? Let me touch on this real quick. What should your logo or icon be for the minimum viable product? For those of you guys, as you can see from Operation Monetize, it can be something as simple as taking the letters and making them look cool, right? So I combined O from Operation and M together, and then I put a $ in the O, okay? You can use something like Canva.com for templates, free templates, okay? You guys hear me talk about Canva all the time. As a matter of fact, all of my creators' codes and branding assets have been made in Canva. So for example, here's Mike Lito's stuff. It's simple. Just something that represents, something that that could be very small on screen, but it's still easily recognizable. So you don't want a whole lot of details, especially when you go on something like school. It's gonna be really, really tiny anyways, right? Like watch this. Over on the left, your logo and icon is gonna be seen over here, right? Very small most of the time. So you don't want something with a whole lot of intricate details, right? As cool as it might be, you want something that serves as an icon. And if you see over here, Miss Paulina's icon is actually her, because she's an influencer and she has kind of like a cult following. So therefore, I figure there's no need for an icon here. Let's just use her, okay? Or if you have like a coach or a course or something like that, that represents an idea or a business model, yeah, absolutely go for an icon, okay? Just a quick branding 101. And then that's whenever we create the mock-up of the community. Who here has already accessed the presentation template that I shared yesterday? I just want to know. It's okay if you didn't. It's okay if you didn't. But I want to show you guys how valuable this is and why I waited so long to have another group call, because I wanted to show you guys how badass this is. I'm going to open this up. Once again, I've added another template. It's easy to use. Guys, if I told you this was the exact presentation that I used to close my 15 million follower creator, would you use it? I don't know, but it looks like this. A new opportunity for whatever. And I replaced my creator with a stock photo of this lady. And then you go in and you do your thing. You swap these out. I've made it very easy for you to go in and just change this, right? And this is the exact this is what I'm talking about. This is the important part. Over here, I was mentioning I create a mock-up of the community, right? This part. I create a mock-up of the community. So what does that mean? It means this. Show them. This is like the kill shot. Because when you show them this, you can't miss it. It's a visual representation of the work that you are actually capable of. And here it is. It's right, like I don't need to trust you or your experience as much as I do with someone who's just sending me a Loom and I have to take their word for it, because I can see it. You did it. You made the thing, okay? And then you can go in and break down the actual features, and you can explain like, why is this actually better, all right? And then I've made that template there for you as well, and you know where to find it. I even added some notes as far as like what exactly it should look like, and again, it's just a starter. And I even linked the actual breakdown of that presentation call template. All right, here we go, the final part, and then we're done. And then we'll go into a Q&A, okay? At the end of the call, so now I've got them on that presentation call after I did all the work, and if the creator agrees to partner, which in my case is 100% of the time, I inform them, so what now? They've said yes. All right, sounds good to me. Like, what's next? What do I do, right? Who here who already feels like they know this part? Or who here, let me say this. Who here feels like they haven't even thought of that part? Because they're so busy trying to get a creator that they wouldn't know what to do once they got one. You know what I mean? Like, what actually is the next step? You know what I mean? Joker from The Dark Knight says, I'm like a dog chasing cars. I wouldn't know what to do once I got one. You know what I mean? I don't want you to be that. I want you to know what you would do if you got one. Okay, because that's the idea. Getting a creator is literally not even the hardest part. You have a long road ahead after you get a yes from the creator, and it starts right here. After they say, yes, sounds good, I let them know on the presentation call that, hey, great, sounds good. After this, I'll go ahead and send you a JV agreement. And, oh, by the way, it looks like this. I should show you. It looks like blah, blah, blah. We get to the end of the creator, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so this is like the final thing. On the slide is where I say, hey, what do you think, right? And they'll say, I love it. You know, sounds awesome. It's great, whatever. Great. So here are the next steps. I'm going to send you a JV agreement. By the way, do you have an LLC or a business entity? The reason why I ask that is because if I'm going to send them a joint venture agreement, I need to have, if they do have an LLC, which most of my creators, actually all of my creators did. So that should tell you something, that if you want to be on par with your creators who are serious about making money from social media, you may want to consider that as another reason to have your own business entity with an LLC so you match their professionalism. Okay, all my creators had an LLC. I didn't have to tell them to do that. Anyways, so I asked them for their LLC or legal name, and they tell me. That way I can put it on the joint venture agreement. I let them know that I'll message them with updates or next steps as they develop. At the same time that I mentioned that, I asked them, hey, when is it okay for me to message you or call you if it's urgent? And I let them know that calling them is like a last resort. I very rarely will I call them out of the blue because I always like to plan ahead, but just in case. And most of the time they'll say, anytime, yeah, anytime works for me, or they'll tell you whatever. And then of course the last part is where I'm assuring them, great, so I'll start on the marketing campaign, or I'll start, you know, after that, I'll get to work. You just let them know, like, great. And what, oh, big thing, hold on, right here. I make sure that they know that they can take their time with the joint venture agreement. Because look, guys, if they got a verbal yes, if you got a verbal yes from the creator, it's not like there's so much that has to happen for that not to go through. You're going to send them the first draft of your joint venture agreement, which again, there's a template in the classroom for it, and they're either going to say they're going to sign it right away, but more than likely they're going to say they're going to have a question. Hey, what does this mean? Whatever. And you let them know before they even have a chance to look at it, hey, it's perfectly normal. If you have any questions or if you need me to change something, just let me know. And you're removing that pressure that they have to sign it as is. And you let them know, like, hey, this is just a draft. As a matter of fact, I wonder if I can share. We don't have time for that. I'll have to share it later because I know you guys are busy, okay? I customized the joint venture agreement for this specific partnership. It will never be one size fits all. There might be different terms and agreements. Maybe one close for 40%, one of them you agreed on 20%. It's not going to be a one size fits all. So you have to make sure you're going in and adding whatever clauses are necessary. I've done a pretty decent job, in my personal opinion, of making it to where it's a pretty good like starting point. And again, you can find that in the classroom as well. It even has mentions of the school games. It actually protects you as the growth operator. There's a clause in there that says like, hey, if by chance you happen to win the school games to any degree, then the person of representation will be you, the growth operator, if there is only one spot. So I've thought about these things and I've included that, right? Isn't that a W? Almost done. So I emailed them the agreement without an e-signature request. Why do I do that? Is because I'm truly trying to, I really want to hammer home that this is a long-term partnership and a long-term relationship. And I'm showing them that I am not in a rush per se to get them to sign their life away. I'm showing them that I want them to feel comfortable. I want them to see that I am actually like a really chill guy to work with, and I understand and I'm flexible. You know, I want this to work, but I also want them to be comfortable at the same time. So that's why I send this sort of draft. I don't even have anything on there for them to sign. I removed that part. So I encourage them to ask me any questions, look it over with peers, go get a lawyer if you feel like you need to. Most of them don't, but just the fact that you say that is like, oh, okay. They're clearly not trying to home me because they said, yeah, go run it by some friends, run it by family, go get a lawyer, whatever. And then if you have any questions, let me know. Long story short, once they confirm it looks good, I send them an actual e-signature request. I use Google Business Suite because it comes with an e-signature feature, or you can use something like DocuSign or Sign Now. Or if you want the free way, you just use as many free trials as you can, because at the end of the day, you just need that one document, right? After we have both signed, that's whenever we're moving on to, okay, now it's time to go to work. You guys see how there's a long road ahead after getting the yes from the creator, because now you actually do your job, strategizing their launch campaign, finishing any course material or fleshing it out, adding any PLR digital products to really beef it up a little bit, whether it be a calculator or some templates or whatever. And not to mention any advanced steps of the sales funnel, landing pages, webinars, and stuff like that. So that last part especially, that should show you guys that you don't necessarily need to build out the landing page or webinar during the two-call strategy, right? Because again, the whole point is to show them a minimum viable product. The more you can flesh it out, the better. Like the more you can structure it before closing them, the better. I think that all that will do is increase your chance of getting a yes. But there is a certain line to where now you don't necessarily have to build out the whole webinar. You just kind of want to deliver that proof of concept and at least show them what it is they're saying yes to. Wow. So with that being said, that is the standard operating procedure that I use to close million follower creators, all the way from getting them as a creator lead, signing them, and now we're ready to and then all the way to preparing them for their launch. If you take away anything from this call at all, just know that what I've shown on my screen is right here. Look, Operation Monetize. Click on Classroom, Done For You Monetization Kit. It's the first one, and here's a link. Click on it, add it to your Notion template, and it's all there. So you always know what to do next, at least between, oh my gosh, I have a bite, I have a creator lead, all the way up to, hooray, they're signed and stuff like that.